Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I have the very gorgeous Dream Maker paper collection on my desk. Today we are going to be creating a double page layout. This is the second project I've created. The first video I went into a little bit more detail on all of the goodies in this collection, so I'll give you a quick flip through. But these papers are beautiful, so colorful, lots of this just gorgeous visual texture, watercolor. I love it. This paper is so pretty. I'm definitely going to use that one today. I do have 5 4x4 photos. My husband and I were on a snorkel excursion in Maui. Lots of whale activities, some cool fish, a really fun memory. To bring in that ocean feel, I have my Beach Treasures stamp and thin cut set, so I'll be using that to create a lot of my embellishments. Let me go ahead and scoot these out of the way. It is a double page, so I have both of my Versamats here. Let me kind of zoom the camera out for you a bit. So I am following along the workshop guide. This is a special for National Scrapbooking Day, and there is a free workshop guide. Even if you don't get this paper collection, go grab the guide and you can adapt it to some papers in your stash. I've got lots of stamped images here. These are from the Coordinating Dream Maker stamp set. This is a double stamp set. On one side you have titles and sentiments, and then we have a really cool, there's a text stamp. I've got this one here. There is a splatter stamp, and then these kind of like splotchy kind of just visual texture, really cool background stamps. I've been using this a ton lately. I have flipped the Versamat over so I can have that nice foam backing. The black square is going to house the photos. The stamping is going to kind of radiate out from underneath that. So I have my Archival black ink, and I have not taped down the black photo mat because I'm going to move that out of the way each time I stamp. Let's actually start with this one here. It's kind of this just line texture, a little bit of splatter, and we're going to create some framing around our photo mat here. This is all detailed in the workshop guide, so you just have that nice visual reference in the guide and you can follow along. I will be gutting out the center of this paper, and a little bit of the black stamping gets onto the center that I gut out, but that's okay, not a big deal. I am just mixing and matching these stamps to create this kind of a collage, and I really love how the beautiful colors, that watercolor look, and those subtle leaves on the background are showing through. Yes, this side is upside down, but it's not going to matter in the long run. The actual pattern paper is upside down if you really study it, but for as much as we're covering up, no one will ever know. I will do the left side here on camera, and I'm going to repeat the exact thing over on the right hand side for continuity, but I'll go ahead and do that part off camera. I don't remember the exact measurement of that black square. It's around 10 by 10, but definitely, refer to the workshop guide, which is in my description box below. I'll have a link that'll take you right to that, and you can download that free guide. This is like mixed media made easy. You have all of the work done for you on that background paper, and then we're just adding some stamps, and I think it's so cool. Anybody can do this, I promise. Just give it a try. If stamping makes you nervous, definitely practice on a piece of inexpensive printer paper. Get the feel of it, the pressure, just kind of practice before you stamp on your actual pattern paper, and make sure you have the foam behind it. All of Close to My Heart stamps come with a little 6x6 foam insert. That definitely works, but you'd have to move it around and make sure it's under the area you are stamping in each time. We are going to add even more background interest to this with the Coordinating Dream Maker stencil. So let me scoot those out of the way. Here is a stencil. It's like a grid with different patterns. I've got my blending brushes, and then I've got Glacier, Lagoon, Lemonade, and Periwinkle. Those are the colors of the 4 quadrants on the background paper. And I'm going to use the circles on this particular stencil and then use the coordinating colors. So we have Lemonade ink for the lemonade background, and I'm just doing a very soft, I want these circles to kind of be, fading out as it goes towards the edge of the paper. And this technique is also part of this workshop. The workshops do, not only do you get these great layouts, but they do incorporate techniques for you to try. Make sure you wipe your stencil off in between so you don't get any color transfer. Now we are doing the same thing with the Glacier. This is one of the highlights and big perks of using a system with such great color coordination. The inks match the pattern paper matches the cardstock, all your tones blend beautifully, and it just really simplifies the process. So again, I'll go ahead and do this to the left side, and then I will repeat that stenciling over on the right-hand side off camera. I really appreciate how all of the pattern papers in the Dream Maker collection are actually pretty neutral. You don't have any strong theme in any one particular area. They lend themselves well to so many different types of photos. I am bringing in that tropical feel by adding in some of my beach stamps, but the colors and patterns, like I said, are just kind of neutral, and you could go so many different ways with this paper pack. The black cardstock has now become a defining border, and we brought in more of that yellow with the pattern paper. The original design does have 6 photos. I only have 5 here. I'm going to switch it up a little bit. She has her title on the right-hand side, but now we have a visual triangle for title, the story, and embellishments. I'm going to go ahead and mat these, and you'll notice that the mats, the photo mats here, are the same color as the quadrants in the background pattern paper. And the Dream Maker pattern paper on one side is solid, and on the other side you have that beautiful watercolor look. So again, Periwinkle goes with the Periwinkle, Glacier with the Glacier, and so on. I put the little fish photo down here because he's yellow, and I thought that helped just kind of draw him out of the picture. We are going to mat the title on white cardstock. So I've cut a smaller square of white, and I want to use Glacier ink to add some of that same circle stenciling to the background of the title. Let me just scoot this up. Sorry, I'm kind of out of frame here. I'm actually at a retreat, so my camera mount is not quite as high as it normally is at home. I like the Glacier color because it's a light color, so it's not going to be distracting from anything we layer over the top of this pattern. I know it's almost a shame to cover up that beautiful cardstock, but I can still appreciate the little bit around the edge. Now this is a zip strip or the branding strip, and it's just adding a little detail to the edge of this. That is in the workshop guide. And then there are coordinating paperboard shapes, and that is where this title came from. It's going to eventually say Lovely Smile, but we have the paperboard shapes that spell out lovely. So I'll get those all into place here, and then I'll glue those down later with liquid glue. I mentioned earlier that the original design had the title on the right. I wanted it on the left, so I put it in the upper left-hand corner. Now let's go ahead and create some embellishments. When I am working with the stamp set and I have leftovers, I just toss them in the envelope, and every once in a while it matches perfectly, like that seahorse. You tend to gravitate towards the same colors maybe when you're working with ocean layouts, so I'm not surprised that that coordinates so beautifully. Now let's stamp the starfish on. I have a piece of scrap paper here from the first layout I created, and you can see that the pinks kind of match my drink over here and the pool noodle up in that corner. So just want to bring in just a touch of that color. So my starfish is an outline stamp, and it has a little bit of detail, but mainly the outline. So it's really going to allow that pattern paper to show through. This is the fastest way to add color to your stamped images. Rather than coloring them in with alcohol markers or something of that nature, stamp them on pattern paper. And especially when you have, a paper like this that has different shades and tones to it, it really adds a lot of interest. So I'm kind of envisioning this little L-shaped cluster up in the corner here. And let me get that tacked down so we can start playing with these layers. Doesn't that starfish look pretty with the different shades of that red in the pattern paper? So maybe just this little shell here. It's just a matter of kind of experimenting with those until you get them just right. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you know I have a pretty decent sized stamp collection, but I don't feel bad about that at all because I love my stamps and I use them. But there are certain stamp categories like I will never part with, and the ocean themed stamps are one of them. I just really love them and I use them. We do visit the ocean quite a bit, several times a year, so they come in handy. I am adding a few of those stenciled circles with Glacier on this square for my embellishments as well. And I'm envisioning a subtitle over here, some type of like quote, something of that nature. So let me just bring those back in here. While I'm thinking about what I want to stamp over there, I have created a ton of flowers. Now, I use the large and small flowers from the Dreammaker stamp set. And then you'll notice here, this is a good example. I've used that texture stamp to add color to these flowers. And keeping with the theme, we are going light colors with light colors. So I'm just quickly sorting these out. And this is in the workshop design. This is not my idea. I am scrap lifting this. I thought it looked really pretty, and those flowers definitely lend themselves well to the whole tropical feel of, being in Maui. Some of these will be layered behind the photos themselves. Some of them will be layered behind the black element. I don't want to cover up too much of the background stamping, so I'm being mindful of that as well. But each corner has a large flower and then a couple smaller flowers. There really isn't any periwinkle, which is a soft purple color, in the photos, but it blends so well and just plays along with the other colors that it totally works. I pulled out a bunch of my ocean themed stamps, and I do have this one. It's called From the Deep Blue, and this one has coral, and that was already in the envelope. I was actually going to stamp it on my journaling block, but that was already in there cut out, and I'm like, I'm going to use that. So I have this sentiment here. It says sunny days, and I thought I could totally use that to stamp my subtitle. I want to bring black, a bold black, to kind of counterbalance the title. Sunny Days is from the Seize the Day stamp set. These are older stamps. I also have At the Beach, and then my Beach Treasures. It has this one too, and I really like this little saying. It says, a handful of shells and a head full of dreams. And I really like that, and it totally goes, but it's not quite big enough. I want it to have more presence over there. So I'm going to go back to the Sunny Days. And again, I want to counterbalance the boldness of the black lovely title. So I'm going to use black ink. And here I'm showing you where you can just use those foam inserts if you have just a little area to stamp. And I'm inking this up really, really well. Make sure that's good and inky, and then let it, press straight down. Give it a few seconds to soak in. You will get a better impression. And then I'm going to repeat that with days. I kind of want that offset, and we'll see how it turns out here. You can always replace that white daisy square pretty easily. I hadn't glued down any of the little sea creatures yet. That is looking good. Do you agree that it really complements the title on the opposite side? I have the Dreammaker sticker sheet, and I want to bring in some of the gold foiled accents. This one here has a pop of that rosy color with the gold foiling on the bottom. And then we're going to finish off the title with the smile sticker. So it'll say Lovely Smile. It does look a little bit washed out under my studio lights, but in person it's a little bit easier to read that gold foiling. Now I want to repeat that on the opposite side, so I just have a couple hearts I'm going to add to the embellishment cluster here. And just a little bit, wherever I add one element, I want to repeat that somewhere else on the layout. In the original layout design, there are sentiments over the photos, and I really like that. So I took the Dreammaker stamp, the title side of that, and stamped sentiments here. This one says, love you. So that'll go over my husband and I. This one says, living in the moment. I thought that was appropriate there. And then chasing sunshine, I will add down here. I love word sentiment stickers, and most of the Close to My Heart sticker sheets come with them, but stamps are a great way to customize your own sentiment stickers. I have my black LePen journaling pen, and I have kind of a lot to say, so I left a lot of room for journaling. I'm talking about how we left at 6 a.m. in the morning to go out on this half-day snorkeling tour. And, you know, it wasn't the best weather. We were going to the Mokolini Crater and Turtle Town, and we were supposed to visit Turtle Town, but the visibility was very poor. So they took us to a second location, but I never did see a turtle, but the whale watching activity was amazing. We felt like we had a 2-for-1 because we debated going on a whale watching tour. And boy, we saw tons of whales. A mom and calf swam under our boat, like literally right there. Like if you wanted to lean over and touch him, maybe you could have reached him. It was just crazy. Such a cool experience. And how cool is that little rockfish there? If you guys enjoyed this video, you know the drill. Stop and tap that like button. Thank you so much for doing that. Everything I used to create this layout is in the description box below, along with links to the free workshop guide and information on Close to My Heart's Facebook event where they are putting all of the Dreammaker projects together. There's a card workshop and even a mini album, so be sure to check those out. For more inspiration, check out this video right here. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you next time.